Hi, this is Jonathan from Looking Glass Cycling, and I wanted to make sure you guys saw that how to fix a flat tire. My wife just happened to have one of those out on the trails. You get stuck out in the forest or even out on the road. That's a terrible thing to be stuck out there and calling somebody and nobody's able to come pick you up. So I always like to carry a tube and something to pump it up with. We'll start on changing the tube. We're going to start here with this flat tire. The things that you of course need at home, you have a floor pump or a hand pump, whichever is available to you. And then out on the trails, I like to take a CO2 with me, just for, like say, when you're road biking. It's kind of hard. I haven't had great luck with pumps getting tires up to pressure, but that's all on their own, what they like. You can always carry a tire lever with you. Some people have strong hands and can pull the tires right off. Not everybody's that strong. So we'll go ahead and start with taking the wheel off. This is a basic quick release. What we'll do is we'll start here with the tire lever. Just got to pull the sidewall back a little bit. And just do that and push it down the side. Tire come right off. Get to that point and pull the bad tube out. Here at home it's easy because we should have a bike pump. So now that we got the tube out, the one thing that I always do, set this tire lever aside, I'll run my hand around inside, feeling to see if I feel a thorn, or see if there's a rock inside the tire or anything. And then you go both ways, because the thorn could be pointing in a different direction, keeping from seeing if you could see if it was what caused the flat, if it was a thorn, a rock, or maybe you just bumped the tire wrong. It seems to be that my wife didn't have a thorn. The inside of the tire's clean. And what we'll go ahead and do, I'll get my wife to hand me the new tube. And it's good to have just a little bit of air in the tires to put the tube back in and keep from causing another flat when you are putting the tube in, because it's very easy to do. So I like to get the tire about just where it's turning around. There's different types of valves. There's the Schrader valve, it's like a car valve. This is a Presto valve, much easier to work with, but one thing you have to check with, sometimes they put a washer on these valves right here to keep the valve from going back in, but we've already got that washer taken off. Also, the one thing after you check the tire to see if there's nothing wrong with it, it's also nice to check the tire rim to see that it's nice and taped in, because the tube can also go into these little valves right here, where right behind this green tape is where the spokes go in. If there's a tear in the tape, it can easily cause another flat in just a second. So everything is in here is still nice and clean. I just think that maybe the air pressure got a little low, or just got a pinch on the rock. So get the tube and we'll go ahead and on the valve again. do is make sure that you're putting in the tube nice and clean, so it doesn't get twisted in there and you put it in sloppy. It's very clean. And it should, unless it's a road tire. Most mountain bike tires will just go slide right back on. Not much pressure at all. What I like to do is look to see the seam. The seam is very clean on both sides around the rim, right in this area. Everything looks clean. So we'll go ahead and start to pump the tire up. Make sure you always check to see what pressure is on the tire. It's usually in small print right here. See, this is a 29-inch tire, the 2.2 width, and the right long. That's says this thing can take up to 65 psi's, but that's a lot of air pressure. It's different in different places that you live in. Around here in Brevard, the trails are quite rough, so it's nice to keep them a little bit softer for grip. I usually try to run my tires on the lower side air pressure just to get better grip. When you start putting the air pressure much higher, the tire might roll faster, but the firmness of the tire, you don't get as much grip. With the lower air pressure and the tires, it's a little bit softer. It's a much nicer ride. It's kind of also adds to the softness of your ride, almost like adding suspension. And it's good to pump the tire up slow at first, because the seam right here is finding where it's going to be pressing against the rim. If you pump it up too fast, the seam can even pop off the tire, and that's no good, because that's normally could tear a tire, could hurt you, or even bust another tube, which I've had it happen. Do all three at one time. I've had the tire pop off because I didn't have a good seam. Popped the tube toward the tire, and I had a nice little welt on my hand.